Hello everyone, welcome back to today's session on spoilage of fermented food and canned foods. I'm Kirtana, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Food Technology at SNS College of Technology. Today we'll understand how even preserved foods can spoil in a very simple and a practical way. Let's dive in detail. So over here we have a recall of what we discussed in the last video. And today's topic, we'll be discussing about the basics of fermented and canned foods, indicators of spoilage in fermented as well as canned foods, and how we control and what are the strategies to prevent it. So let's recall. Let's start with a quick recall. How do we identify spoilage? It's basically the visibility or the appearance what we can visually recognize, right? In today's session, we will cover basics of canned foods, indicators of spoilage, and finally, prevention and control strategies. So, by the end, you'll be able to identify and prevent spoilage easily. So, first, what is food spoilage? It basically refers to the undesirable changes in food affecting the safety, quality, as well as the acceptability. Even preserved foods are not completely safe from spoilage, and that might result in economic loss, consumer dissatisfaction, and in certain cases, it might also reach food safety risks. So, basics of fermented foods. Fermented foods are actually preserved using beneficial microorganisms. So, common examples would include curd and yogurt, pickles, idli and dosa batter. They are preserved due to the presence of low pH, organic acids, and competitive good microflora, which is basically present in them. And then we have the spoilage of fermented foods. However, spoilage can still happen due to various reasons like undesirable microorganism, improper salt concentration, temperature fluctuations which happens, and in certain cases it might also happen due to the poor hygiene condition. So the common spoilage organism includes yeast, mold, and bacteria. When you see yeast, it is in the form of gas and alcoholic smell, whereas mold, it will be on the surface. Bacteria, it causes the sliminess in the product. Indicators of spoilage in fermented foods. Over the picture we can see how the spoilage could happen in case of wet. So how do we identify spoilage? So basically we look for off odor, excessive gas, slimy texture, mold growth, or abnormal taste. This result in reducing the shelf life of the product as well as the consumer rejection. Basics of canned foods. Now let's move to canned foods. Canning involves two major steps. One is the heat processing and the other one is the hermetic sealing. Examples might include canned vegetables, fruits, meat, and fish products. The assumption is properly processed food is shelf stable. So as you can see in the picture, this is how the canned food is going to look, and this is the headspace level, and the canned foods has the anaerobic condition. Next is spoilage of canned foods. But spoilage can still occur due to various reasons like inadequate heat processing, can leakage or the defects that is present in the can, post-processing contamination, and in certain cases it might also occur due to the high storage temperature. So the major microorganisms which are involved include the Clostridium species, Bacillus species, and also the thermophilic bacteria. Types and indicators of canned foods. There are different types of indicators. First one is flat source spoilage, swell spoilage, which is nothing but the gas formation, sulfide spoilage. So the indicators are going to be, as you can see in the picture, foul smell, discoloration of the product, cloudy liquid on the top of the product, bulging cans are all few indicators that in case of canned foods. So one of the important note is never consume bulging cans, which should be actually prevented and educated properly. Over to next slide. We have the prevention and the control strategies. So prevention is the key. For fermented foods, usage of proper starter cultures, maintaining the salt and temperature, and then ensuring hygiene are the prevention strategies. Whereas for canned foods, proper heat treatment, and we could opt for checking the integrity of the product, storing in the cool or dry conditions. With this, let's summarize what we have learned. Fermented foods spoil due to unwanted microorganisms or microbes and poor conditions, whereas canned foods spoil mainly due to processing or packaging failure. Spoilage can be identified through smell, texture, and appearance. Understanding this helps us ensure food safety and quality. Thank you for watching.